Okay, legends, so looking at the Azure Vault MDT that we're going to be using for the dungeon guide today, we're going to start off with this opening pull here, pulling the whole room. So we're going to tag these 3 lashes, move over here and get this whelp, which is going to shriek. It's going to wake up the middle, and we're going to tag these 3 lashes as well. Once this is down, we move through to this connecting way and we do this arcane tender with the 3 lashes. Then we move out here and we pull these next 4 lashes here. Then we're going to drop off the ledge here and we're going to go down to this bottom area around the first boss. We're going to grab all 3 of these arcane tenders, having kicks assigned to them, group up these saplings as we run around and just nuke everything down, and then we're doing the first boss Laymore. We're then going to take the stairs down here, and rather than skipping this, we're going to run into these 3 whelplings, which is going to wake up this middle pack here with the Thrasher and the 4 Furies. We're going to do this, then we're going to do these 2 elementals. Now, if you had really good kicks, you could actually bring these elementals into that pool by just having someone tag them. Just depends, you know, how confident you are at getting stops and how comfortable you are with that pull. We're then going to take the book over here and we're going to do 2 double pulls over on this side here. And then we're going to leave this pack up. We're going to come to this point here. We're going to use our stylish black parasols, which you can find a link to get that if you don't in the description. And we're going to drop down here. You can also use a slow fall. Dropping off here is going to skip this entire ring here, and we're going to land right here. Then we're going to pull these 2 vault guards at the door with this pad here with the rune keeper. Then we are going to get the lieutenant, which will be padding around here. We're going to grab the lieutenant into these 3. We're then going to grab the 3 vault guardians and do this last pack over here. And then we're going to do Azure Blade. Then we're going to take the stairs down here and we're going to do all of this in one pull here, the breakers being the main focus. Once the breaker's dead, you can continue to chain. This breaker here, this is the focus, so we're going to pull all of this all the way down here. Once this breaker's dead and most of this is cleaned up, you can chain into this last room. And then we are going to skip these final 2 breakers here. Now, you can do this a couple of ways. If you've got a priest, you can mind soothe and just run around the edge. Otherwise, a tank, a hunter, or a rogue can pick these up, move them into a corner. The group can run around, take the book over. As a tank, you could then run, die, and get rezzed. A rogue or a hunter are able to get back to the book and take the book over by dropping combat, and they don't have to die. We're then going to do Grey Wing, we're then going to drop down, we're going to do the final boss, and that is it. So let's get into this video and get you through this dungeon. Room here, we're going to run in, we're going to tag the 3 lashes on the right side, and we're going to tag this padding whelp over here, which is going to cast Shriek. We're going to grab the 3 lashes up the back, the Shriek is going to activate the 3 Furies in the middle, and then we're just going Big D. Now, important things here is to kick whatever you can on the lashes. They'll cast a thing called Mystic Vapors. It's hefty arcane damage. It leaves a 6-second dot. Can build up fairly quickly. So kick whatever you can, stun whatever you can there. The Furies are the big mobs to watch though. They do a frontal cast called Piercing Shard. It's aimed at your tank. It has a pretty wide radius on it. Be sure you're not facing these into your group. You can stun, you can disorientate them, so DKs make the most of that double grip, blinding sleep. Paladins with Hodge, blinding light, druids can incap raw them, mages can DB them, warriors, fear, stormbolt, shockwaves. You get where I'm going, just don't let them go off, especially when it's like a fortified bolstering or a raging week, something like that. Once they're clear, we're going to move into this connecting hallway, and we're going to get these next 3 lashes and an arcane tender. You want to assign 1 person to the tender, as it'll cast erratic growth. You want to kick this ASAP so you don't have the issues of having to play around with it, the circle, the dispel and things like that. Just kick it. Assign your other interrupts to the smaller lashes and getting those Mystic Vapors. The arcane tender will also do Wild Eruption. It's the purple circles that you can see on the ground. I'll start with these little blue swirl puddles, move out of them, and then it'll spawn these expansive purple circles on the ground. It is worth noting, on high difficulties like a 25 fortified, if you run through one of those purple puddles, it will likely kill you, so just be aware of that. Once that's dead, we're going to move outside and we're going to grab 4 lashes here. You could chain these 4 lashes into that tender pack if you wanted, or wait until the lashes were dead and then bring the tender out and chain this in. This was a bolstering week though, I didn't want to bolster that tender any further. Just something to consider, an option depending on the affix week. There are also routes where you can come out here and you can clear this entire top section. It's not a bad route. The route I'm showing you today though, I think works best for a range heavy composition. I think it also works the best on a bolstering or a raging week as well. So yeah, I'll put it in the MDT if you want another option, but I am really sold on the route I'm showing you now. So we kill those 4 and then we're dropping down. Down here there are 3 arcane tenders and a bunch of saplings. The saplings don't do anything. When they're about to die, a big blue swirl comes out of them, just don't stand in it. The 3 tenders, exact same mechanics we just covered off. You want to go and round this up as quickly as you can and just kill them all. Assigning kicks, a melee kick can sit on each tender for erratic growth. And then you can assign 2 range kicks to sit on another one. So in this one, I can sit 1 kick, the paladin can sit 1 kick, and then we can pull the 3rd one and 2 range players can rotate on that tender. So whatever you've got to sort out, do obviously play to a comfort level as well. You don't need to do anything crazy and kill yourself, but try and get through this area as quick as you can. Dodging those saplings when they explode, and then we're on to the first boss. Okay, so the first boss, Lemore here, about 5 seconds after engaging the boss, leyline sprouts will spawn. These little purple swirls that then turn into these sapling tree crystal-y things. After these pop up, the boss is going to hit you with a big magic hit called Infused Strike. It's arcane damage, so AMS is absolutely pog here. Then a couple of seconds later, it's going to do this Erupting Fissure. This is a big frontal line. It doesn't track as soon as it starts going. Get out of the way. And this will destroy any crystals that you put that through. You, as the tank, you want to try and kill as many of them as you can. Saplings will come out of the destroyed crystals. Just put them under the boss there. It'll then do that stomp. Just make sure you're out of that. It'll put these large white circles you can see around us. You want to move to any remaining crystal-y sapling trees and explode them. When they detonate, out come all these saplings, group them up and just drag them around, not standing in the blue swirl. So I'm just moving around the boss's hitbox here. And that's pretty much it. This fight is an entire rinse repeat of that. The idea is when the stomps come out, you want to make sure that you don't have any crystals up. That's really important. Otherwise they explode for damage and you will likely wipe here. So DKs have a really easy time on that Infused Strike because we can just AMS everyone, which is really nice. Trying to get as many pillars as I can with that frontal, so I ended up getting 4 there. And then you can see our remaining ones. So explosive brands coming out here. So just we get a little bit of a knockback. We get these overlaps with the circles, just making sure we're covering all the trees here which are marked out. And then when these sapling spawns, we're all going to converge into the middle. The idea behind that makes it easier on your healer and far easier on your tank to be able to get all the aggro off things. As you can see, it is quite hard sometimes, especially as a blood DK with, you know, the lower damage pool. It just makes it easier if everyone gets into the middle, you know, to be able to get that aggro. As the tank, just think about your positioning as well, you know, with the Erupting Fissure. Try and, if there's something under the boss, you can see that one sapling tree that's under the boss. I don't think that'll actually get collected. It did, the one at the back didn't. That's fair enough. So just be aware of your positioning. You do have a little bit of time between Infused Strikes to the Fissure to be able to move the boss and reposition. Just coordinate to people where you're going. And that is pretty much it. So we're going to skip ahead now. So after the first boss is dead, we're racing out of the room here and we're going to go down the stairs. And this is where there's those 3 whelplings at the bottom that you would normally wait. You would get a path and you would dodge through. We're going to wake them all up because we're going to clear this whole line down here. Because it's fairly easy percent if you're just shutting down the Furies, which can be really scary. But I don't think they're actually that bad. So moving through these whelps here, the shrieks going off, we're going to get 4 Furies and a new mob here, which is the Thrasher. Now the Furies, we've already covered. Point them away, stop as many piercing shards as you possibly can. And that's pretty much it. You can also line of sight. See this X marker here? If I needed to line of sight the Furies piercing shards, I could move to star and you could actually line of sight on the pillar there. Now, this new mob, the big Thrasher here, they'll do a crystalline rupture. It's a big circle that comes out around them. You would have seen it at the start when we pulled. If you get hit by that, you get whacked with a pretty large arcane damage hit and you get rooted for 6 seconds. It also throws out splintering shards, which puts a circle around a player, causes them to bleed, and anyone that moves inside that circle will also bleed. So you can see there, we made pretty quick work of them, just again using my double grips, my blinding sleets, using our in-cap roars, DBs, fears, you know, Hodges, blinding lights, whatever we could, just to make sure we shut them down. We're then going to move up and do these 2 arcane elementals. These are pretty chill. They'll do these arcane bolts, which aren't really anything to worry about. The big thing is the Waking Bane. You want to make sure that you're shutting them down. So your solar beams, single interrupts, stuns, disorientates, whatever you've got to use. Because if that goes off, someone gets put to sleep, and that's pretty horrible. Not so much in this situation, but on the next platform where you fight them, where there's a bunch of stuff coming down from the sky, like these blue swirls here from thundering, but they're over from the mobs on the next platform. If you slept, you can get one shot. Pretty orcs. So they're down, we're going to run through and we're going to book over and we're going to go to our first platform. Now on this platform, we're going to do two double pulls. That pack over there to the far right with the two Furies and the Thrasher, we are going to leave that one. Now this is really awkward padding position here, so that's unfortunate. I actually want that pat to be back here so I could double it here. So I'm kind of talking about what we sort of were going to do here. I'm just going to make a start on this one, which is two of those elementals again, so the Waking Bane kicks to watch again, and then we've got a Curator in this pack, which is a new mob. Now the Curators, they're going to throw big magical books at people, and they're going to rain all this shit from the sky via forbidden knowledge. You just need to watch your feet. Pat's coming back now, so I'm going to grab it in. Two more elementals, so now we've got 4 kicks of Waking Bane to watch. And the big thing with this Rune Seal Keeper is Icy Bindings. This Condensed Frost, you can just let go through. It's not really a problem. The Icy Bindings is the big one though. This roots everyone in place if it goes off. With the Curator raining that shit down from Forbidden Knowledge, you can see all those blue swirls there. If someone is either slept from the Elemental or binded from the Icy Bindings from the Keeper, they will likely die. So we get those down. Again, really bad pat here with that Thrasher and Fury walking away because we want to double this pull as well. So one kick on the Elemental for the sleep. Somebody shutting down the Fury with the piercing shards here. So you can see here, just gripping it off, watching this Forbidden Knowledge. And then we're going to let the pat walk back into us. We're going to have that Thrasher, which is going to have that big wide circle that deals arcane damage with the Crystalline Rupture. So again, just moving out of that, nice and simple. Blinding Sleet here onto that Fury. That's pretty much it. So I'm just going to let you see the Crystalline Fury from the Thrasher. So here it comes here. So you can just leg it out of this. You've got plenty of time to get out. Sit on the outside. I think it's about 15-yard range. And that's about it. It doesn't really do too much. Watch your feet. Grip these Furies off. And that's it. So that is all we are killing on this platform. And then we're going to pull some tech and we're going to go and jump off the edge to the next platform. So I'm just going to speed through this little bit. Okay, so that pack has just been finished up, and now we're going to run over to this blue marker and we are going off the edge. Now you can slow fall down. If you're a Drakthir, you can glide down as well, obviously. Otherwise, you can use some of the Parasol toys. Now this one is super easy to get. There's a video in the description on my channel. I'll show you how to go and get that. It's so quick, takes you like a minute. If you don't have, can use that to get down. And then we're into this really scary area of the second boss room here, and this is where things do actually get quite scary. So these guards here, these Vault guards, have an ability called Ice Cutter, and they really, really hurt, okay? So it's got an 8-yard range on it. Don't be afraid to kite if you need to, but allocate CDs to this magic DRs because it does really hurt. Ideally, you want to get the 2 at the door and the padding 3 mobs, which you can see got brought in here. That'll give you a Seal Keeper again. So again, watching that Icy Binding kick. You'll also get another Vault Guard in this, so there's another Icy Cutter to watch. Now, this is a Tyran week, so it's not as bad. On Fortified, though, these Icy Cutters really, really do chunk you, so you really do want to be sort of monitoring it. And as I said, it's got an 8-yard range on it, so it's absolutely fine if you need to kite out, especially like on a Fortified Raging week. Don't be a hero and stand there and get one shot. Just run away if you need to. Once they're dead, moving inside here, and then we're going to get the Padding Lieutenant, and we're going to pull that into a pack of 3. Now, the Attendants, they do absolutely nothing. The Keeper, you've got your Icy Binding kick, and the Lieutenant, he trucks. So the Lieutenant does a Spell Frost Breath. It's got a 25-yard range if you're thinking you can outrange it, so that's very similar to the Drakes in Halls of Valor. It hits you with a 3-second frost damage hit. So just be aware of that, making sure that you've got cooldowns available for that if you need, or runic power banked for death strikes. It'll also do a Icy Cutter as well. So again, making sure that you are not pointing that at melee and that you are, on top of your game in regards to having some form of defensive or being topped or calling for an external before the Spell Frost Breath goes off, or an Icy Cutter, because you can get caught out and you can die fairly easily to this mob. Once that's down here, we're going to go and grab the rest of these Vault Guards. So there's 3 more Vault Guards in the room, 2 up here. So again, they're the Icy Cutters, remember? So you can see here, 8 yards away. Don't have to worry about that. And then I'm going to pick up this third one, which hit me for half my health, even though I'm pretty sure I was 8 yards away, but I may have sort of been in the trigger zone for when it went off. I don't know. I'm going to pull in this final remaining 3 though. So I'm going to sit the keeper here for the icy binding. So I'm going to make sure I get that. And the rest, I'm just rolling CDs to make sure that I'm okay with these icy cutters here, dodging all of these swirls and stuff like that on the ground that are coming out from thundering, which you've obviously got to navigate through this. When you're doing that, just make sure as the tank, if you've got mobs that are doing icy cutters, that you don't spin around the globe when you're trying to dodge things. Really think about where you're going. I'm using AMZ here just for a little bit of comfort on these bolstering cutters as well. Anything I can do to reduce, magic damage, I was kind of rolling with that just to make sure I didn't die because that mob was so bolstered. So then we're on to the second boss, Azure Blade here. Now when you engage the boss, she'll summon a draconic image. This needs to be interrupted or grouped in ASAP and then cleave down under the boss whilst you're rotating your interrupts. The boss soon after spawning that, it will hit you, the tank, with a massive tank buster called Arcane Cleave. It hurts, DKs, you can AMS it, absolutely fantastic. If you don't have AMS up, you need to make sure that you allocate a cooldown for this, as it does hit really, really hard. Periodically throughout this, Azure Blade will spin to a random player and cast Ancient Orb out. It's a big orb that grows and then shoots out. Just don't get hit. And after about 30 seconds, the boss will have reached full energy, and it'll move into this phase you're watching on the screen now called Overwhelming Energy. You'll spawn 4 adds around the boss that you have to kill in order to get back to damaging the boss, and a bunch of orbs will be shooting out whilst this is happening. There'll also be pulsing damage for your healer to be dealing with as well. So this is a pretty scary phase the higher the keys go and things like that. There is a lot of there's a lot of avoidable damage. You need to make sure you are being smart as with a group. So don't be standing in swirls, don't be running through orbs and things like that. Soon as the adds are dead, you're back out into the rinse repeat phase again. Now what I'm going to do here, for the phase 1, I leave it in the middle because you get to full energy fairly quickly for that overwhelming energy. In this second phase though, I'm going to get over to the wall with the boss as quick as I can. So I AMS that first Arcane Cleave, I use a cooldown on the next one, and then I'm just gripping these adds in. Always, if you're going to grip the add in, just make sure that you're right after the tank hit before you go running off to grip the add in. It's important that you survive and then get to the add. So you can see add here behind me. The reason we're bringing this, the boss over to the wall here, especially in a range heavy group, is you can milk a few more % whilst the boss is moving back to the middle. So you can see overwhelming energy is about to happen here, like on high 47%. By the time the boss gets back to the middle, we milk like an extra 3.5%, 4% off the boss on that travel time. And then again, it's just a rinse repeat. 4 adds up, the orbs coming out. We're just going to move around, kill these adds, try not to stand in anything bad, make life as easy as we can for our healer. Stay grouped up as well. Get these adds down, rinse repeat. So let's skip ahead. Okay, so Azure Blade is dead, and now we are moving to go down the stairs. Now, there are different routes. There's one where you would be 100% here, you would run back out, and you would parasol down to the third boss. Again, that route's going to be in the description. However, for bolstering, raging weeks, heavy ranged composition groups, I still feel like this route is better. So we're going to run, and we're just going to basically chain our way all the way to the end. The most important thing though is killing these breakers here. The Draconoid breakers are the scariest things, and they are always your focus targets whenever they are in packs, especially on fortified weeks, on bolstering weeks, and on raging weeks. They have to be focused down. The breakers have an ability called Bestial Roar. It's a massive physical damage hit to anyone within 30 yards. On the high fort keys, be it bolstering or raging, likely one-shot people as well, which is why they have to be focused down. It'll also pick a random target and shoulder slam them, which again can one-shot people. The frogs, they just jump around, they lick people. If it's this kind of frog that's this big when it's bolstered and things like that, obviously don't let it lick you in the sack because it will fuck you up. However, if they're normal, they don't really do too much. You can put things like Ursals down to stop them from jumping out, binding shots, sleets will work, blinding lights, anything you can do to stop them and just keep them stacked up for your DPS to kill them is absolutely advisable. Once the breaker's dead, you're just going on a run to get more stuff. So We do that first room, breaker dies, we come out here, and then we're just chaining down and we're doing this whole corridor. And again, the breaker is the focus here. So shoulder slam coming here on me. It's not a problem to me. It's a problem if it goes on someone else that has no immunity or survivability to take it. Bestial Roar coming out here. You can see that's no bolstering stacks. Does around 60 to 70% of people's HP. And this is a Tyrant key as well, keep in mind. So absolutely focusing this breaker down. Breaker, that's 2 stacks of bolster there. Again, you can outrange it too, remember. 30 yards is the range on it. So just depends on your positioning wise and what you can do with that. But yeah, really focusing that breaker down. And then as soon as it's down, you can just keep moving. As the tank as well, I think it's really important to point out, break things up, stall things to whatever you need. There is no point. So right now on my screen that we're looking at, I got no Icebound Fortitude, no Vampiric Blood, no A-Bomb Limb, and no Dancing Room Weapon. There's no point in me chaining into the next room right now with nothing. Like, I will just die. So call for externals, sacks, barks, all that kind of stuff, or tell your group, you know, I need to wait. I need to farm back Dancing Room Weapon before we pull the rest of this room. So at the moment, I am just chilling out on this breaker until I have something back up. Now I have Vamp Blood up, so I'm pretty comfortable. I got 10 seconds on Room Weapon. By the time I gather all of this, I'll have Dancing Room Weapon up and I'll kind of be right to party. So Dancing Room Weapon's back up. I've got the rest of the room, and now we're just tunneling down this breaker. Now the breaker's at 40%, no bolstered stacks. Some of these other mobs do die fairly quickly though, so you just need to watch out. One mob that I actually haven't mentioned throughout these that can be really annoying is the Delvers. The Delvers will put a dot on you called Tear Flesh. It stacks, it's a bleed. So just watch again what you're pulling around with them, as it can hurt. Now you can see that Bestial Roar basically killed Equi there. He went to 0%, but he managed to live. So say of that what you will. We're going to finish up these last frogs, and then we're going to skip the final 2 breakers, which are out the door here. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. If you've got a priest in your group, you can just Mind Soothe and run around them. It's Pogaz. Here are the 2 breakers at the end. Mind Soothe, run around the edge. As a tank, you can pull them over to a far corner. Your group can run through, click the book. You can come out and die and get rezzed. If you've got a rogue or a hunter, they can pull them over to a corner. They can then grapple over to the book, vanish and go over, or turtle and then get over as a hunter as well. Whatever you're going to go with to skip. If you don't have Mind Soothe, I would just get your tank to pull them to the side. Or unless you've got the rogue or the hunter, die, get rezzed, and then you're onto the 3rd boss. So the 3rd boss here is Grey Wing. As soon as you engage the boss, these frost bombs will go out, and these are circles that go around each player. After 5 seconds, they detonate, they explode, they put frost puddles on the ground. DKs, we can AMS that application before the cast goes off from the boss. Hit AMS, you won't get a bomb. The boss will then pick a target and cast Devastator on them. 3-second channel, most classes will be fine with spot healing. Once the boss reaches 100 energy, she'll go into the middle and she'll cast that absolute 0. You'll move to the rune. It's got a DR shield over it. You want to stack inside that, allocate some externals to make sure you live through that, have some group awareness about what you're going to do, AMZ, darkness, AM, things like that. Also be aware if it's a volcanic week and you get hit by a volcano and you go up, it'll put you outside the barrier's DR and you will die. So just be careful of that. So AMSing that frost bomb application here, you can see you want to try and leave the boss position wise in a nice place where your melee can spread out. They're still able to hit the boss. And then just continue working your way around here. Icy Devastator, there used to be plays around timing. If you would let it go through, you would get longer in this phase as opposed to melding it or something like that. It's not the case anymore, so I didn't have AMS for this one here. So moving over with these frost bombs here. Here comes absolute 0 out here. I don't have AMZ the next one, I think, but this is basically it. It is just a rinse repeat. The absolute 0 does do a lot of damage as well, so just be aware of that. As I said, when you get deeper into the fight, your darknesses, your AMZs, rallying cries, that stuff really has to be planned out, especially on the higher Tyrant keys, to make sure you survive. But otherwise, this fight is a complete rinse repeat. We're going to kill Grey Wing and we're going to go down and get onto the last boss. So I'm just going to move us there. Okay, gamers, so we're at the end of this fight. I just skipped us along here. 2%, we almost got there. Don't worry too, if you've moved around, you could see that last rune that we were moving to was covered in frost. By the time you complete a lap, if one's covered, the frost bomb's clear from it, so you can still run into it. So we're going to kill this. Our pro tip too, when you're moving down here, if you are any class that has a pet, dismiss it. So DKs, make sure that if you've got your ghoul up, dismiss it. Hunters, if you've got pets, because what will happen is the pets will go down, they pull the boss, and then you get hit with like a 25 or 30 second respawn timer because they despawn the boss. So just be aware of that. So then we're on to the last boss, Umbra Skull here. As soon as you engage the boss, you'll see that you get this oppressive miasma on you. It's like Rathion, so it's a stacking slow that ramps up to 50% movement speed reduction in total, and you gain a stack every time you move, so you want to limit your movement where you can. As the tank, get the boss over to a wall ASAP. There is a spot you can go right up the top and put the boss basically in the wall. The problem with that though is if you're playing especially with this group composition of triple range, someone needs to be able to get to you if they need to clear with thundering or something like that. Now I know as the tank there are ways around that. It's just an option that I think you need to kind of have. So in this option, in this group composition, I am just tanking the boss along the wall. It can also get a little bit finicky if you tank the boss up in the spot on the wall if you need to get out with orbs and things like that. But whatever you're comfortable with, you can do. I find this works quite well. Now the boss is going to hit you with a really large tank buster throughout this encounter called Dragon Strike. It is a massive arcane damage hit. DK's AMS is absolutely win here. If you don't have AMS up and the application hits you, you will cop a 10-second dot off from the successful hit, so just be aware of that. Periodically, the boss is going to spin to a random player and cast a frontal called Crystalline Roar. Just need to make sure you move out of the way of that. Around 30 seconds into the fight and then throughout it, the boss will cast Arcane Eruption, and this will occur whenever the boss reaches 100 energy, and this will release the little balls you can see that just came out here. Now these balls basically channel to people or gravitate to people that have healing aggro, which can be you as the tank a lot. The balls are near you or your healer, so just make sure that you are moving when you need to. If there is a whole bunch of balls in your face, there is nothing wrong with saying, I need to run away here. You can get a freedom if you've got a paladin in your group, and you can just leg it. If you've Death's Advance, anything, Heroic Leap, just notify your group that you're moving and big move away from all the orbs. Easiest thing you can do. Unleash Destruction is group-wide damage that comes out. It comes out pretty frequently. As a healer, you want to make sure people are topped up for this, as it will hurt. Call for group externals, your rallies and AMs and all that kind of stuff if you need it as well, because it will hurt, and if someone's low and caught off, they will die. The boss will also spawn these detonating crystals. They have to be killed before they do their fracture cast. If one goes off, it'll leave a massive dot on the party. It's pretty much unhealable and you will be screwed. So people really need to focus on them. You can see that Unleashed Destruction causes a punt back too, and here come the crystals coming out now. Again, use these things for your movement if you need. You can see these orbs have kind of, swung around to where we were now. So now I'm just going to move back the other way from where I was. Dragon Strike coming out here, I'm just going to use AMS. Making sure we finish all the little crystal pillars, which is pretty cruisy with 3 range. And that's it. So if you've got any questions about Azure Vault, hit me up. As I said, there's 2 MDTs in the description below, one for this route and one for another one, which is the 100% for the second boss route. Whatever floats your boat, you can absolutely do. And you can see I just did a really big move there away from all these arcane orbs. So, don't stand there and dodge them. Just move away. Anyway, that's it from me. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks so much, Legends. I'll see you all next time. See you, fam.
Legends, if you really want to help me out and support the channel, please consider pledging to our Patreon. Tier 3 and above will see you getting your name at the end of every single video we create, as well as some hidden perks in the Discord. Thanks so much.